has helped us to achieve. And it's not just in Nyahururu. It's in every other big city in the Republic of Kenya. The number of young people we've hired, the number of professionals, the economic activity that has gone in. What am I saying? I am saying, let us believe in God. Let's believe in ourselves. Let's believe in our country. You know, I once asked a journalist, senior journalist friend of mine, why it is very rare to find a headline talking about some success. That always in the headline is about negative things, things that have gone wrong, something that has happened that is wrong. This journalist told me that, you see, bad news sells. Good news doesn't sell. Oh. So, when you read the headlines, just know that there are people who are doing their business. And for their business to succeed, they must write about bad news, because that's how it sells. The bad news you read in the headline is not the whole story. It is the story to sell the newspapers. You will not see the good news in the headlines. And I have no doubt in my mind that it doesn't matter how many headlines are written that Kenya is going in the wrong direction. This country will never go in the wrong direction. This nation will never go in the wrong direction. Doesn't matter how many headlines say we are a failed state. Kenya is not and will never be a failed state. Because Deuteronomy tells us that we will never be the tail, we will always be the head. And so, I am persuaded beyond any reasonable doubt that this, our country, is a great nation. We have the duty and responsibility to make it great. And we will. And we shall. I remember we just had the Africa Forward Summit, the French Africa Summit. And among the big conversation that I was pushing is for us as Africans to believe in ourselves and to stop the dependency thing that we believe that others owe us. Nobody owes us anything. You know? And I was explaining, for example, statistics, numbers tell us we have $4 trillion of savings in our pension funds, in our insurance companies, and in many other places. We haven't been able to mobilize these $4 trillion to work for us. And as a result, we are stuck with our own development because we are going to look for the savings of others to come and run our development. And we have to think outside the box. And I can proudly stand on this podium that we have mobilized our own resources to drive some of the fundamental development that we have undertaken in the last 3 years. Our own resources We haven't borrowed from IMF. We haven't borrowed from the World Bank. We have driven our housing program. For example, a project that is now 600 billion with our own money. Yes. We have mobilized our own money. We are building Talanda City, not with borrowed money, with our own money. We are building Bomas with our own money. We are driving universal health coverage. I was looking at the numbers. In the last 1.5 years, we've paid 150 billion to our health facilities, our own money. Let us believe in ourselves. Let us believe in our country. That's what I tell the citizens of our nation. We can do it. We have the capacity to do it. Others are going to learn from us. Yes. You know, we must believe in God. And that is why, if you look at the wealth of the world, if I give you an example, maybe $470 trillion of wealth. One country, the United States, $160 trillion. Maybe 300 million people. China, possibly 90, 100 trillion. The whole continent of Africa, 1.5 billion people, 54 countries, $2.5 trillion. And you know, the reason why the United States is what it is because in every place you go, they say, in God we trust. In God we trust. If you look at their currency, if you look at their, in God we trust. Yes. So, tumwamini Mungu na tujiamini na tuamini taifa letu la Kenya. This is our nation. Let us never pretend for once that anybody is going to surrender their country to us. We will not, nobody. This is ours. We must build it. We must make it work. And we have what it takes to make this country great. I have no doubt in my mind. We have what it takes to make this country a great place for all of us and our children. I had an opportunity to meet with our transport sector leaders last week on the fuel crisis. And I sat down with them for about maybe 2.5, 3 hours in Mombasa. And I explained to them where we were, what the issues are. And I took them back to 2022 when we had a similar crisis. And then we had long queues, people in jerrycans looking for fuel from one station to another. We had a serious crash on our dollars. We had a serious, in fact, the first team that I met when I was declared president was oil marketers, because we had a crisis. And I explained to them how, if we are reckless about subsidies, where the country went. In fact, for a whole year, we had to pay close to 150, 160 billion Kenya shillings that had been used for subsidies without fuel. And I told them, we must be students of history and experience. We don't want to repeat mistakes. And I explained to them that today we have fuel in all our petrol stations, unlike other countries. Today, the Kenya government is subsidizing fuel. The actual price of diesel should be 273. It is 232. We're subsidizing 40 plus shillings for every liter. We've spent 28 billion shillings in the last 2 months. And we've done it with prudence. And I took them, when we finished, they told me, Mr. President, we are going to call off the strike. I did not tell them to call off the strike. They looked at the facts. I know many people say they were influenced this way and that way. Maybe they were by facts of what the situation is. Yes. The most interesting part is when we finished and we stood up. They told me, Mr. President, pray. And I prayed. So, this is what it is. And this is who we are. And I want on this prayer breakfast to say that we must never underestimate what a country that believes in God, that believes in itself, can achieve. We must never underestimate. Today we are doing many things. In fact, I did send a proposal to Treasury that because we have found a way to do many other things differently from how we have done it before, we found a way of how to build our infrastructure without burdening our budget. We are building Mau Summit Road without our budget. I told them it's time for us to look at how we can slow down on especially the low-income earners and remove some taxes from them. The Treasury came back, some people there in the Treasury came back and said, oh, Mr. President, you know, this is going to be very big, you know, it's going to cost us 40 billion shillings in this budget. I told them, let's do it. Let's do it. And that is why we will be putting a proposal before Parliament to say all the low-income earners, the people who earn up to 24,000, they've been paying pay-as-you-earn at 10%. We're saying they will not pay anymore. We are saying, in fact, that category should be moved to anybody who is earning 30,000 and less. They will not pay any taxes. Because we're beginning to think, plan, innovate differently so that we lighten the burden and use much more innovative ways of driving our development. And it's because we are blessed with a nation that has huge resources, human resource, people who can think, people who can plan. And even the crisis on fuel, we not only have a short-term plan, but we have a long-term one as well. We have found the mechanism how to get our fuel in Turkana and those in the rest of the region to be refined here in our region. When I sent my team about 6 months ago to look around, they came across Aliko Dangote and what he's doing. They came back to me, and I reached out to President Museveni, and I have reached out to colleagues in this region, and we have agreed. And this year, we are going to start building the refinery here. I had a chat with Mr. Dangote yesterday, and he was telling me how much resistance has been built by the people we are buying fuel from now, because they want to continue buying their fuel. You know? So, but we have to make those decisions that will change our country, that will transform our country. And I want to tell you, some of the time, we have to forego convenience, temporary convenience for long-term transformation. And that's how we're going to build this great nation. Finally, I am reminded about the woman in Luke 18. There was a judge. There was a woman who wanted justice from a judge. And the judge said he doesn't believe in God. He doesn't care what people think. So he wasn't moved by anything. But he crumbled on one thing: persistence. This woman kept going and asking until this fellow said, for me to have some peace, let me do what this woman wants. We have to persist. We have to keep at it. We cannot give up. We must not lose hope. We must keep at it until this country changes. And it will. I have no doubt in my mind, it will. And just for your comfort, between now and the next elections, we will drive the transformation of this country. And we are going to have elections. And they will be peaceful. And there will be no violence. And they will be free and fair. Yes, they will be free and fair. Because what God has decided, no man can change. Yes, so relax. You know, people are in a panic. I don't know. Ile Mungu ameamua ndio itafanyika. Yes. Si namna hiyo. Kama Mungu ameamua Ruto will get a second term, he will. Kama Mungu ameamua vingine, that's what will happen. And we will move on as a country. Yes. So relax. There's no problem. Those who believe they will divide this country, they will not. They will not succeed. They will fail. And fail spectacularly. They will not. Yeah. So, tulizeni maboli, hakuna problem. Hii nchi iko sawa, tasonga mbele, Kenya itafaulu. We will succeed. And we are a great nation, good people. If I had an option and I was given a chance which nationality to be born, I would want to be born in Kenya. Yes, we have a great country. So, wacha nisiseme kuzidi hapo. Nimefurahi sana kwamba tumepata huyu kiongozi ametuzungumzia about forgiveness, reconciliation, and working together. To all our friends in Kenya, we are very warm people. You know, we respect others. We work with all nations, and we want to be the nation that, you know, does the right thing. And so, ndugu zangu wa Kenya, I do not wish to say more than that. I am truly happy that we have come here to pray and just to assure everybody that we will move together, and we will build the bridges of friendship and brotherhood and succeed together. Asanteni sana, and God bless you.